Good afternoon or good morning, depending on the time that you're viewing this. We want to say thank you for taking the time to be with us today. I am Shalana Poole with Flashpoint Financial Services, a LPL financial advisor. And this is Trish Wilder, also with Flashpoint Financial Services, LPL financial advisor as well. We are very honored and happy to be working with uh, Cypress Public Library, excuse me, to offer some good information to the community. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about work-life balance with a little bit of a twist and adding money in there as well. We all hear about work-life balance and that phrase across the board, but it all has one third component that's missing from it, and that's the money piece. Trish will be speaking for us today, and we welcome all questions. If you have any, we will give our contact information later on if you would like to reach us directly. Um, Without further ado, I say thank you to the library and hand this over to Trish.
Thank you so much, Shalana, and it's such a
Yeah.
pleasure to be with you guys today. And I want to just say, from both of us, as the heart of a teacher, we like to say, we're so happy to share this information. And anything you see, such as the charts or record keeping that we present, please feel free to contact us and we'll send that out to you as well. So let's jump in because your time is valuable. Talk about work, life, and money and balancing that. So, as we get started, knowing that this energy that you spend in achieving this healthy balance for this work life, this is so important because it affects so many parts of your life. So, if you're a parent, if you're a spouse, if you're both, if you're a caregiver, you're handling someone else's financial, this is so important to understand. And there are many resources out there for you. And we're going to be one of those resources. Work, we'd like to say, is more than a paycheck. And right now, given the environment that we're in, so many things that are going on with this pandemic and all of the news that's coming out as well. So hopefully this makes it easier for you guys, thinking about this flow experience of our routines, the social aspect now that hopefully some of us are getting back out there. It can be challenging, but we also want to have something measurable in how we can make work more than a paycheck. So, which comes first, success or happiness? Well, hopefully they're both going to come for you. So, life has some personal strategies. We want to share the 7 tips to improve your work life money balance. So, as Shalana said, we're going to get money in there. We want you to know that that's important and we understand that. And we are also struggling with this. I know about Shalana and Jennifer and everybody at the library, but those around us. As I hear everybody talking about this and we're on different Zoom meetings, we want to make sure we're building some downtime into our schedule, even if that's for a few minutes in between some of the things that we're doing. And I just read something that was so important because number 2, dropping activities that drain you, multitasking can be one of those. Multitasking is such a big zapper of energy, and I am guilty of multitasking, so I'm working on that. But also rethinking your errands. With the advent of favor and having things delivered, not just through HEB or the different grocery stores, or maybe you're going to places like CVS or Walgreens, those folks are delivering as well. So why not rethink your errands or put them down on a list and get them done? Map that strategy out and then automate good money habits. There are many ways that you can do that. There are many apps available to you to do that, including through your own bank or credit union. So we encourage you to research those resources for you and then get moving. Obviously, right now I'm sitting down, but as soon as I get up today, I plan to walk up and down the stairs a few times and get moving so that I can breathe. And then a little relaxation goes a long way. So after that, I'm going to do a little relaxing as well. And that could be, a 30-second meditation, which is really hard for me, by the way, slowing things down, but I'll work on that. Whatever works for you to reduce stress. So schedule more activities that are important for you. What is it that you like to do? Not just by yourself, but with your family, with your friends. Check out those things that you like to do as well. So we're going to take a look at Katie and Alex. This is how one couple found a little more work-life money balance. When the money part is smooth, boy, it sure feels good. But when the money part is off, so does everything else. And I have felt that in the past and more recently as well, so we're not immune to that. We want to develop great money habits, and we promised that we'd share some of this with you. So there are 3 great personal financial habits. You want to calculate your financial well-being score. We're going to share with you what that means in a moment. You want to regularly review your personal finances and keep those big goals in sight and on track. And then we left a little more to this list that you can add something to that. And Shalana, before I move on, did you have anything to add before we dive into these financial habits?
No, not at this time, but I would highly stress the number 2, as far as regularly reviewing your personal finances is just as important as reviewing your personal health. The more you review and stay on top of that, the more it reduces stress over time because you're being a little proactive as opposed to reactive. And that helps create balance in your life by being ahead of the game, or at least working towards being ahead of the game as opposed to behind.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Thank you.
Yeah.
So here are the 6 key areas that we look at for a financial well-being score. Of course, personal finances, your goals, because those goals are yours and yours alone. Your wellness, because that's important. Retirement, family, yours, the one you're planning to have, or the one that you're currently taking care of. That could be your parents, your in-laws, your sister's kids. Who knows what we're doing today, but we're all taking care of someone. But the first, we want to take care of ourselves. And then security. These are all things that are important. But as you can see on this diagram, those arrows keep going in that counter or that clockwise position, and they never stop. These are all ongoing pieces of your pie in your well-being score. So this is the financial well-being self-assessment, and I mentioned that if you would like any of these for your own personal use, let us know and we'll show our contact information at the end of this presentation. But knowing where your personal finance goals stand and your big goals, how those add up so that you can do your own personal self-assessment. For instance, I know my income sources and expenses well. Do we run a surplus or a shortfall on our budget? Now, I'm not going to read each of these individually because we are going to dive in a little bit later. But I want to make sure too that on the personal finance side that we're looking at that you are working with someone that you trust. Make sure you're having these conversations too with your family, your spouse, your significant other. Those are important so that you can learn to understand what each other's goals are and hopefully kind of go and be on the same page together. And then habit number 2 is to review your personal finances. And as Shalana said, this is so important because there are 2 elements to that, which is my cash flow, my money in and my money out, so what I make and what I spend, and then my net worth. What I own minus what I owe equaling my net worth. Let's dive into that for a second. This is a review of your personal finances. So you've got your cash flow sheet on the left and the net worth worksheet on the right, helping you understand how those 2 work together because they do affect each other, and knowing this is going to be so important in developing and reviewing your personal finances. Now, how often you review them is completely up to you, but we do recommend reviewing them at least once a year, and with life changes, because life does change. We've got life events that happen. Maybe you go through your domestic restructuring, maybe you're having a baby, maybe you received an inheritance, maybe you're sending a child off to college. All of those are going to have an effect on your personal finances. Oh, and I just want to back up. Excuse me. I just want to back up real quick. My apologies for getting a little lost in this presentation. But I want to make sure too, on the cash flow side, make sure you understand. So cash flow is so important, because net worth is, well, what I'm worth, but I could be worth quite a bit, but I may have very little cash flow in the way that I will enjoy those big goals or set money aside for those big goals as well. So make sure we understand that. And we are here for any of your questions. And then keeping your big goals on track. This is the awareness of the important things in your life that you really want to do and experience. So this could be something as far as, taking that vacation that you've always wanted to go in another part of the world or another part of the US. But you might even think of creating new traditions. One of the traditions my husband and I have worked hard on creating is, instead of giving each other gifts at every holiday and birthday, we've decided whatever money we would spend on those gifts, we would put into a savings account, and then possibly take a small trip, once a year, and then a big trip every other year. And then each year, one of us gets to choose the trip. And then the next year, the other one gets to choose the trip as well. So creating those new traditions. And part of keeping these big goals on track includes making sure that you have a plan. What is your plan? Could be a retirement plan, but your estate plan as well. What happens if something happens to me? Where do all of these things go? Who gets them? This is called an estate plan. So including writing a will, maybe having powers of attorney on hand, making sure you have beneficiaries designed and designated for each account that you have. And also speaking, if you have an estate attorney, asking those questions. So money is for life. Life isn't for money. Living your financial plan. This is driven by your choices. You've got to organize those finances, and then having guides for your financial future, and then supporting those big goals now and in the future as well. So again, you can see where the planning and organizing is so important, knowing where everything is. Oh, and well, who knows about my plan? Have I told somebody what my plan is? Have I told someone where my important documents are? And living my financial plan as we're driven by those choices and organizing as well. So having a written monthly budget might be one of those organizational things that we do with our finances. And then understanding, as we work with a financial advisor for maybe our retirement plan, like a 401k, or we have a state pension. And then also, have I worked with my personal banker to make sure that I have everything designated with beneficiaries too. So your living financial plan takes balance. We've talked about a lot, and that balance is important, because sometimes, and even though you see in this graphic in front of you, might have more things to balance on one side, and how do we balance on the other, because we've got 4 things over here, but the one thing over here is really weighing on us. So how do we balance that out? Making sure you have a team and someone that is folks that are around you that are positive and asking questions. And I think that's it. Boy, we flew right through that. And I promise you, having all of this is a lot more than what we just presented. But we are here for you. You'll see up on this screen now the contact information for Shalana and myself, LPL advisors with Flashpoint Financial Services here in South Austin. We really appreciate the time that you're taking with us to be on this Zoom presentation today to talk about work-life money balance. And we thank you to the Ty Preston Memorial Library for the opportunity to do this. Shalana, what else do you have to add?
I think you did a great job. Thank you so much. Really, really valuable information that to balance our work, our life, and our money is basically what gives us energy to move throughout our everyday lives, which is beautiful. But we have to have the tools in place in order to do that. And you mentioned a few tools and thoughts and disciplines that we can do in order to put that balance in place. So I hope this was beneficial. We would love to be able to share the full financial assessment with you. She only shared a portion of it because, we want to be as concise as possible and respectful of your time. So if you want the full assessment, please let us know and we will be very happy to get that to you. But it is a pleasure to be able to provide this information to everyone here.